I love pack rafting, and this is my Alpacka raft comparison. What I want to do is just go through the range that we stock here at Tom's Outdoors. This is by no means all the pack rafts that Alpacka produce. So there is a few more models that we don't actually stock. If you're interested, we can actually special order them in and still get them for you here in Australia. So what I wanted to do was go through the ones that we physically stock the majority of the time. Now, colors will change over time. The green is pretty much a constant through Alpacka's range as a given, but the highlighted colors will change from season to season. So, you know, this season in particular, we've had a lot of blue, hence you can see that there's a lot of blue. Now, there is quite a bit of variety in the boats. And when I talk about variety, I'm talking about the fabric weights. I'm talking about whether they have or they don't have a zip, so which Alpacka calls the cargo fly. We've got self-bailing boats and we've got open boats. We've got boats that are suitable for flat water, boats that are suitable for light water. We have boats that are suitable for white water. So there is multiple combinations per raft as well. What we do have is a really broad selection, so I can give you an overview of what each boat is, and hopefully by the end of the video, a good understanding of what boat would be suitable for you. Before I dive into the boats, I'm going to talk about the cargo fly. So the cargo fly is this waterproof, airproof zip that runs on the back of the boat. What that enables you to do is put gear inside the hull. Now, it's really important to remember that if you open that zip, you actually depressurize the boat and you let all that air out. So it's a really good place to put gear that you don't want to access during the day. So if you're using any of these boats for camping out of, this is the perfect feature, because what it means you can do is you can put your tent, your sleeping bag, your backpack, anything that you're not going to need until the night time, inside the hull. It's going to be kept dry, it's going to be kept clean, it's out of the way, it's not going to get splashed by water, you're not going to lose it in the river in the event of a capsize. Day use items you want to put in a dry bag somewhere around here, behind the seat, up near your feet. You may want to use Alpacka's bow bag, which can go across the front. I really like that, it's a really great feature. So put it across the front, put a dry bag, put your water bottle, keep all that sort of stuff in there. That way you're able to access that during the day. Something else that I quite often get asked questions about is an open boat versus a self-bailing boat. So the open boat doesn't mean that it's open to the water, it means that the top's open. You've got an integrated floor in here, so there's no water's going to come in, and you've got a seat area as well. Any water that comes over the side, so any splash, is actually going to sit in an open boat. So think of an open boat a lot like a bathtub. It doesn't have any holes in it, so the majority of people that are buying an open boat aren't going to be running white water in it, because you don't want to run white water in an open boat, it's just going to fill up with water. But it does give you this relatively dry area to put your legs. Open boats tend to be a little bit lighter in weight because you've only got a seat that's just a single seat. It doesn't have a full inflated floor. And that also means they tend to roll up a little bit compact. If we've covered off open boats, what's a self-bailer? So a self-bailing boat is one that bails itself. Now, how it does it is it has holes in the floor. The thing is, those holes will let water in and out. You go, well, then I'm just going to get wet. Sort of. The sort of is the fact that we have in a self-bailing boat, we will typically see a full inflated floor. Everything from the seat all the way to where you put your feet is inflated. The idea of that is that you're going to be sitting above the little bit of water that's potentially sloshing around in the bottom of your self-bailing boat. So there will always be a little bit of water that finds its way in, but more importantly, when you go through a big hole in a whitewater river, that water has somewhere to go. You're not dry now, you've gone through a big hole in a whitewater river, but that inflatable floor takes up some of that volume, and then also the holes in that boat is going to allow that water to drain out relatively rapidly. If you are going to be paddling whitewater, get yourself a self-bailing boat. Something that we don't stock, but I am going to just bring your attention to, is decked boats. Decked boats are available as an option in some of Alpacka's models. Now, a decked boat starts out life as an open boat, but then we end up with a cover over the top, like a kayak deck, and then you'll run a spray skirt over the top of that to stop it from filling up with water. Now that is available in some of the whitewater models and some of the other light water models as well. A decked boat is a great option in colder climates, keeps you a little bit warmer, stops you from getting wet, your lower half getting wet. But the drawbacks in some environments is it's a little bit slower to put on and off. If you're jumping in and out of your boat and wanting to scout all the time, then you're having to pull your skirt on and off. If you are running a dry suit and you're not competent with a roll, then you're better off with a self-bailing boat, because the dry suit's going to keep you dry, or even if you're in a wetsuit. You're still going to be relatively warm and comfortable, but the boat's going to be easier to get in and out of if you're running a self-bailer than if you're running a decked boat, because you don't have that skirt that's attaching you to the boat. I've given you a bit of an overview of common features. Now I really wanted to run through each boat individually and just drill into whether that boat is the right boat for you or not. I'm going to start with the Scout. The Scout is the lightest and most compact boat that we stock from Alpacka. So we're talking about 1.6 kilos, we're talking about a small pack size. So the Scout only comes in an open boat. Now, who's it for? It's for the person that wants a really light and compact boat, particularly if they're going to want to carry it somewhere. For us here in Oz, like if you're wanting to hike into the Western Lakes in Tasmania and go fly fishing, and you've got to carry your boat in. So you're wanting to go in and fish a small lake. If you're on a hiking trip where you might have to cross a calm body of water or a slow moving river, then it's also the type of use that you're going to use the Scout for. It's the smallest, lightest boat. It also means it's not able to handle those bigger loads or handle that more extreme water that you're going to be able to handle in models like the Mage as far as whitewater goes. Calm water, small lakes, slow moving rivers, perfect. Rightio, Caribou. We've got it on display here in the blue. We also stock the green, which is a pretty popular colour. The Caribou is that do-it-all pack raft where you're not wanting to paddle whitewater, but you're wanting a boat that you can do rivers, you can do lakes in, you can strap your bike across the front, so the outfitting on the Caribou is set up to be able to take packs across the front, even as far as a bike goes, so the bow is a little bit more shaped. You'll see it's not as pointed as what the Scout is, so it will support load. Caribou is available in an open boat. You can get the Caribou in a self-bailer as well. The advantage of that is it does allow you to run what we would term light water. So we're looking at grade 1, maybe grade 2, where you might get a little bit of splash over and it allows that water to go out. But it doesn't have outfitting as far as thigh straps goes. We'll cover that when we get to the more whitewater orientated models. So the Caribou is really your do-it-all boat. It's the boat for somebody that doesn't want to paddle whitewater, or maybe a little bit of light water, and they want a pack raft that's going to do pretty much everything and still in a nice lightweight package. I'm going to move on to the Mule. Now, think about the Mule as a bigger version of the Caribou. So if you need to carry bigger loads, if you're a big guy, you're over 6 foot, you want that extra leg room. If you want to be able to put your dog in the front, if you want to be able to strap a large amount of weight to the front for some reason, it's pretty popular with people that are hunting in Alaska and things like that. You've got a big heavy bike that you want to strap across the front. The Mule is the boat that's going to do that for you. It is more of an expedition boat in some regards. It's just bigger and available in the beefier material as well. So we haven't really talked about fabric weights yet. So the Scout and the Caribou that we've just seen are in the 210 fabric. The Mule that I've got in front of me is actually in the 420, but it is available in the 210. So it's available in 2 different weights of fabric. The difference between the 210 and the 420, think about it as durability, robustness, but the trade-off is the boat is heavier and it's not as compact. So it is really a balance depending on what you want your boat to do. If you're looking for a lighter package to carry, you're going to end up in the 210. If you're mostly going to be pack rafting out of your car or short distances, then you might end up in the 420. Bottom line for the Mule is a boat for somebody that wants that bigger boat. They might even want to put a kid in the front with them. somebody that wants the space. It's also for that bigger guy that just needs the space. You know, bigger pack, bigger guy, heavier weights, the Mule is going to do that for you. Rightio, moving on, we're going to talk about some whitewater options now. Now, both the boats that I've got in front of me look fairly similar, and on camera they're slightly different shaped, but they're still very similar. One is the Gnarwal and one is the Mage. And you sort of can't talk about one without also referring to the other, so I'm going to try and refer to both a little bit. The Gnarwal, which is the one that I've got directly in front of me here, is your beginner to intermediate boat. It's where people, if they're first getting into whitewater, are probably going to feel safer and more comfortable in that boat. It's got a good amount of primary stability. It's relatively flat across the bottom, so it handles pretty well, but you know, it's nice and stable because it's just got that really stable platform underneath. You may notice there's a bit of a difference in the outfitting between the boats that we've just covered off and these couple of whitewater boats. They come with a back band, so it gives you nice support, keeps you in a nice position as far as a nice paddling position for a good power stroke. These are both self-bailing boats, so they've got the full inflated floor all the way through. The other thing you've got is thigh straps. So the Gnarwal has a 3-point, the Mage has a 4-point. Both of those strap setups allow you to be connected into the boat, like a traditional whitewater boat. Now what that means is that your torso is free, but when you rotate your hips, the boat is going to move with it. You have so much more control in a whitewater sense by having that boat connected to you. The thigh straps don't make you permanently attached to the boat, so you know, you're not seat belting or clicking yourself into the boat. That's really dangerous. You want to be able to come free of your boat. By straightening your legs, the thigh straps will pop off your knees and you're free to swim and maneuver yourself, get in and out of your boat however you need to. If we're talking about class of whitewater, Alpacka say that the Gnarwal is a 1 to 3 class boat. And then we're talking about the Mages being able to paddle up to class 4. If you're a beginner pack rafter and looking at paddling whitewater, then the Gnarwal is going to be the boat that you're going to have a very close look at. I'm going to go through the Mage pretty quickly because we've sort of covered it off with the Gnarwal. A lot of the features are the same. We've got a 4-point thigh strap instead. You've got a little bit more connection with how it sits over the knees, so that's really good. So the important thing to remember about what they've done with the Mage is they've really punched that self-bailing floor down below the water. The Gnarwal will handle shallower water better than what the Mage will because the Mage is sitting deeper down in the water. What that does with your hull shape is it enables the Mage to have both primary and secondary stability. I've covered that off more in depth in another video review that I've done on the Mage. If you're a paddler, you've paddled whitewater, you've paddled in other boats, you know what a tippy boat feels like, then the Mage is going to feel like a tippy boat to you. It's going to have that performance benefit of being that little bit tippy. It's going to enable you to use that primary and secondary stability as you're cutting in and out of eddies. It's going to enable you to be able to maneuver more effectively in whitewater. The Mage is a really cool, sick boat. Something to bear in mind, both of these have got cargo flies. If you're putting gear inside the boats, particularly once we're starting to talk about whitewater ones, they are a little bit more weight sensitive because you're going to want to get your balance right for how you're going to be handling that whitewater. So yeah, you could go and jam all the weight in the back. It's going to float down a normal plain river fairly well. If you're going to want to make that boat handle well, you're going to want to think about where you put your weight. So I've got 2 doubles to talk about. I've got the Forager and the Rendezvous. Now the Forager is actually, this is my boat as well. This is a boat I've used with the kids. There's boats that you might have already seen on our YouTube at various points in time. It is your whitewater double boat. It's a lot of fun. It's got a little bit of a rounded hull shape, so it is a little bit tippier than, say, the Rendezvous. The Rendezvous is definitely a more stable boat. This one is a self-bailer. It's whitewater capable. You can paddle the Forager as a single boat if you like, and the latest versions actually come with the little backrest that you can see that's available on boats like the Caribou and the Mule. The Forager has the option of putting a central seat, so that enables it to be paddled effectively as 2 people. The person at the rear sits up on the back here, and the person in the middle sits on the middle. I've had a bit of fun with the Forager with my kids. It's a good multi-person boat. If you're going on a trip and you want 2 people paddling whitewater, then the Forager is the boat that you're going to want to look at. If you're a solo paddler that needs to be able to carry a fair bit of gear, then also the Forager could be the boat for you. If you are a solo paddler paddling this boat, it is going to be difficult if you've got a headwind. It catches a fair bit of wind. I also sent a couple of our fly fishing guides out in this boat one day to test it as a fishing platform. I didn't tell them it was a whitewater boat and that it might have been a little bit tippier than they were otherwise expecting. And if you're wanting a platform to fly fish out of and be able to stand up in and fly fish out of, you're better looking at the Rendezvous. I'm going to cover off the Rendezvous now. The Rendezvous, it's an open boat, so it's not a self-bailer. It has an integrated thought into the boat. So it actually stiffens the boat up a little bit because you can see that central middle area of the boat is fully inflated and connected with the rest of the hull. That enables you to have enough stability and strength within that boat to stand up in that front area. So if you're wanting a boat that one person can paddle and the other one can fish out of, then somebody can stand up in the front of the Rendezvous if you have a little bit of balance and fish effectively from the front of that boat. If you've got a nice slow moving river, then it's going to be perfect for that. If you're just wanting a double boat that you can take down to the nearest lake and 2 of you can go for a paddle in, the Rendezvous is probably the one you should be looking at. It's light, it's compact, you're able to roll it up, put it in the boot. The Rendezvous is that lighter, general purpose double boat. I hope you've enjoyed my packraft comparison. There's a lot of choice when it comes to packrafts. My general advice is that pick the boat for what you think you're going to be doing the most often. So if you're going to be paddling whitewater, definitely grab a whitewater boat. If you're not going to be paddling whitewater, get one of the other boats. Packrafting for me has really made it fun and enjoyable again. I've really enjoyed getting out with my friends, with my family, and just having fun on the water. They've been easy to look after, easy to store in the shed, easy to deal with in the car. They're a lot of fun. Get out there and enjoy it.